The Mimic Pro simulation helps students learn how to run an effective search ad campaign, among other skills. Running effective search ad campaigns is mostly about two things. One, learning to make accurate conclusions about the performance of campaigns and ads, and two, learning to make accurate conclusions about how to change those ads and campaigns to improve that performance. Good performance on the simulation is very similar to good performance in the real world on a real AdWord campaign, in that it is all about making as much money as you can with a limited budget. Most ad departments have a fixed budget, so good performance means maximizing your return on ad spend while spending the full budget. Now that's the same in the simulation. Good performance comes when a group or individual allocates budget to the highest returning keywords, ads, ad groups, and campaigns, while also spending the full budget. The most common and easiest to remedy mistake that I typically see with students' campaigns, especially early on in the simulation, is that they don't spend enough money. If they spend $1,000 on ads and if they have a great return on ad spend, let's say of 500%, they've only made $5,000. Whereas if they had spent the full $6,000 budget and the return on ad spend was only 300%, they would have made $18,000, a huge improvement despite a dramatically lower return on ad spend. So students typically need to be encouraged, especially in the early rounds, to spend more money. So how do we go about telling students to spend more money? There are basically three ways to get more money spent on ads. One is they could increase their bid amount on the various keywords. Two is they could bid on more keywords, that is, add more keywords to more ad groups. And three, allocate more budget to the campaigns that are running out of money. In the beginning rounds of the simulation, it will almost always be the case that the student needs to focus on the second option, adding more keywords or adding more ad groups with keywords in them. The first option, increasing the bid amount, can have a moderate effect, but the marginal benefit of that goes to zero pretty fast. If the student is already ranking well for a keyword, then increasing the bid amount just increases spending without actually generating more revenue. The third option, allocating more budget to campaigns that are using their full budget, is an easy fix, and that's something we always want to look at, but it's not often a problem in the early rounds. This third option, or budget allocation across the campaigns, is something we'll look at more closely in the later rounds. After we've reached the budget cap, that's a good way to maximize your return on ad spend. So now we're going to go through the data from a student's results and help the student make the inferences we want the student to learn to make. How are the ads performing, and what changes we should make to the ads to improve that performance? When we look at ad performance, you can actually make inferences at four different levels. You have the campaign level, which is one campaign performing better than another campaign? You have the ad group level, are some ad groups performing better than others? We have the ad level, do we have multiple ads within the same ad group, and is one ad performing better? And four, the keyword level, are some keywords better performers than others? Though this is a matter of preference, I advise students to take a bottom-up approach when digging through the data. Go to performance on the individual keywords, optimize at the keyword level, and then optimization of ads, ad groups, and campaigns tends to fall in line once those keywords are already optimized. Right now we're going to take a look at the students' results from the third round of the simulation. So what I encourage students to do, instead of looking at the scoreboard, which is something you can look at, but that's a very high level results, I encourage students to dig right into the actual ads. So we're going to go down here to the ad campaigns themselves. Now if we look at this student, it should be obvious. We see this student has two ad campaigns, but one of the ad campaigns was paused during the last round, so we only have one campaign to analyze. And from a high level, we see the student generated $13,000 in profits, spent almost $6,000 to generate that money, so that led to a return on ad spend of 127%, which is decent, but it definitely can be improved. And as we dig in more deeply, you'll see there's some definite low-hanging fruit that we can really improve on this. So let's take a look at this campaign. This student had 6 different ad groups, but one of those ad groups was paused, so we have the results from 5 different ad groups to look at. We can compare performance across these ad groups, but as I mentioned, I don't think that's very useful until we've optimized at the keyword level. So right now we're going to examine these ad groups and see what fixes we can put on these ad groups to improve performance. I'm going to start with a worst ad group because that leaves the highest room for improvement. If we look at the Pentex MX1, that should jump out at you as the worst performing ad group because it had 0 impressions, 0 clicks. Obviously something is very wrong with this ad group. If we click in, let's just quickly look at the ad. If we see Pentex MX1 camera, 12 megapixel. The content of the ads itself looks pretty good, I think. Let's take a look at the ad, look at the details, and this should jump out at you. What's the problem here? The destination URL is for the GoPro brand page when they are advertising a very specific camera from a different brand. So this is clearly a gigantic mismatch, and that is probably why this ad is not performing very well. But let's also go ahead and take a look at the keywords. So that's a clear, easy mistake to fix. But let's take a look at the keywords. What were the keywords the student was bidding on? Everywhere from 4K camcorders down to camera shop, HD video camera, and finally we have some Pentax camera keywords down at the bottom. Obviously those Pentax camera keywords match the ad a little bit better, but still I think this ad was so poorly crafted with a poor landing page, and this grouping of keywords is very poor. There's no good reason to have a list of keywords that are so disparate and highly varied in the theme of those keywords. Our goal is to have keywords that are very tightly packed and are very similar to one another. It's possible that these bottom 8 keywords would be a great 8 keywords to set up an ad group around, but these other more general keywords of best camcorder and 4K HD that are very broad don't fit in this. So we have 2 gigantic mistakes in this ad group. Is the keywords are not well themed, they are not highly similar to one another, and of course the gigantic mistake of the landing page not matching the ad itself and not matching the keywords that we are advertising on. So those are some easy mistakes we can fix on this ad group and hopefully get some better results in the next round. So let's take a look at the next worst performing ad group. So I like to look at return on ad spend. We have this Canon cameras. We have a positive return. They're making money on this campaign, but there are probably some errors and some fixes we can make. So let's take a look at Canon cameras. Again, quickly, let's take a look at the ad itself. And again, we have the same gigantic mistake here. The destination is the GoPro brand page. This is a clear mistake that this student needs to fix, so they need to send that probably to the Canon brand landing page instead of the GoPro landing page, so that's a big mistake this student can easily fix. Let's take a look at the keywords. Here again we have a long list of keywords, and these are pretty well themed together. And if we look here, this list of keywords is actually much better optimized. All of these keywords at least have the brand Canon in them, so this is a good list of keywords. Now let's take a look specifically at how to improve the performance of this ad campaign. Let's start by looking at some of the keywords that didn't give us any money. If we look at the Canon digital video camera, Canon DSLR body, and Canon DSLR camera reviews, all 3 of those had a CPA of $0 because we had 0 conversions from those keywords. So should we delete those keywords? Maybe. Let's take a look. Each of those had 6, 6, and 10 clicks and 0 conversions. So it had a 0 conversion rate, but can we make a strong inference that those keywords are poor keywords and shouldn't be included in this? I don't think so. If you only have 6 clicks, you had 6 visitors to your website and none of them converted, we can't make any strong inference that we had a poor conversion rate. We just have low numbers on that. If we go farther down, let's take a look at the bottom 4 keywords. We see digital camera Canon, digital cameras Canon, DSLR Canon, new Canon DSLR. All of those also had 0 conversions, but we have more information that does indicate that these keywords are probably not good for this ad group. One is that we had 0 clicks on 3 of those 4, and the average position was a 10 or a 9.5. So why would that be the case? So the search engine is taking a look at our ads and our keywords here and saying, we don't want to give you a good ranking on this ad. There are 3 reasons why a keyword does not receive a good ranking. 1 is we're not bidding high enough. 2 is our ad is poorly written. Either the ad content and the words we put in our ad are poor, or because the landing page is off. Or 3, the keywords that we have grouped together don't fit together, and these particular keywords don't fit with the ad. So if we look at those 3 reasons, 1, is our bid too low? Do we need to increase our bid? Well, we see the suggested bid is lower than our actual bid amounts on each of these, so that's not the problem. Second, do we have a poorly written ad? Yes, we already demonstrated that. We don't have the right landing page, so that's a problem. But that wasn't a problem for all the other keywords. It seems that these particular keywords don't match with all of the other Canon keywords. Maybe these keywords are just too broad for the people who are searching on it. So we're not getting a good ranking on these keywords, so let's delete those keywords. But as far as the remaining keywords, even some of those keywords up higher, like Canon DSLR video, they have 0 conversions, but it also only has 7 clicks. So we can't make any strong inference about that keyword being a poor keyword. Obviously, the big problem with this ad group was the fact that our landing page didn't match the ad content and the keywords that we were bidding on. So that's going to be a major mistake we'll fix, and we should see better results in the next round. So let's move on to the remaining ad groups. The next worst performing ad group was the Nikon D5200 ad group. So let's take a look at what's going on in there. Let's take a look at the ad itself and the landing page. Again, we have the destination URL being the GoPro brand page, which obviously doesn't match the ad, or the keywords in that ad. We see a lot of Nikon ads, so that's actually a good group of keywords that are all Nikon based, but the landing page doesn't match the keywords we have selected. Again, we have the same problem here. You see these top keywords, best Nikon digital camera, best Nikon DSLR. Those are not performing as well as the keywords farther below. So we probably want to pause those keywords right away and obviously fix the landing page issue. Okay, let's go to some other ad groups. Okay, the next lowest performing, or the second best performing ad group was the Samsung Smart Camera ad group. So let's take a look at that ad group. Again, let's see, here we have Samsung Smart Camera landing page. So they have chosen a good landing page here. So finally, that's not a problem. So let's take a look at the keywords themselves now. If we look at the keywords, we have some Samsung keywords down at the bottom, but we also have these best DSLR digital camera, buy digital camera, these very broad keywords that don't match the ad. So those are some easy mistakes we can fix, and if we notice, we have a lot of these ads that have 0 clicks, the best DSLR digital camera. Clearly, let's pause all of those keywords that aren't doing anything for us. Now, this is probably a question you know the answer to, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Why should we get rid of these keywords? It's not costing us any money, right? They had 0 clicks, which means we didn't have to pay any money. Why should we pause them? The reason is this damages our quality score. Search engines pay attention. If you have ads that aren't being clicked on at all, that shows that you're not writing very good ads. You're not writing ads that consumers care about or care to click on, and so the search engines are going to damage you, not only in the ranking for that keywords, but also the ad groups and your whole campaign. So we want to get rid of these keywords that aren't doing anything for us. So any of these keywords that have 0 clicks, it's very obvious that these are getting 0 clicks because they don't match the ad group very well. Now we have some very interesting results in this ad group in the fact that the Samsung keywords, as you see here below, the Samsung keywords are performing pretty well. We have good rankings, 2.5, they're ranking quite well. The conversion rate is mostly between 4 and 5%. We have a few that are down in 3%, but that's potentially due to just small numbers. So they're performing well. We have a good landing page, a good ad. Those are performing well. What's interesting is the fact that some of the broader keywords higher up, digital camera deals, digital camera reviews, those are performing well despite the fact that they don't on the face match the ad or landing page we're sending them to. So we have a few options. One, we could go ahead and continue to let these broader keywords run in this ad and this ad group because they're performing well, and that's not a bad decision. Or we can see that simply on the face, these don't belong with the Samsung keywords, and we can create a different ad group with a broader appeal and send them to the home page of the website where they match a little better. If somebody searches for digital cameras, maybe you don't want to send them to a specific landing page for the Samsung Smart Camera WB350F. Maybe you want to send them to a home page where they can shop around for digital cameras. Either one of those decisions might be a good decision in this case. They're already performing well, maybe we leave them in, but on the face, it seems that they might be able to perform better if you send them to a page that matches the theme of those keywords a little better, which is broad digital camera shopping rather than shopping for a specific brand of camera. So this ad group is a case of an ad group where we have a good ad, we have a good landing page, we just have a pretty broad mix of keywords, and we'll be able to improve performance by honing in on simply those keywords that match the ad and the landing page a little bit better. So we have one more ad group to look at. This was our best performing ad group of the Canon Rebel T3i. So again, let's take a look, make sure our landing page matches, and indeed this is sending the shoppers to the Canon Rebel T3i landing page, so that is well set up. Let's take a look at the keywords that we were bidding on. Here again, we have very broad keywords: best cameras, best digital camera. We have a long list of cameras, not all of them related to even Canon, let alone the Canon Rebel T3i. And if you notice, these top, looks like 15 keywords are all, the average position is 10, meaning the search engine didn't see any value in what you were providing for these keywords. So we want to get rid of those keywords immediately, and that should improve performance. Let's take a look at some of the other keywords that are actually performing decently well. We go down to camera Canon, camera castle, camera deals, camera reviews. All of these are getting decent conversion rates. If we look at the conversion rate column, we see those are all between 4 and 5%. Those are good conversion rates. So we are performing pretty well on those keywords. We have a few more keywords that didn't do very well: cameras reviews, Canon cameras, Canon digital camera. Those didn't do very well. Let's get rid of those. Notice that actually Canon cameras and Canon digital camera cost us a decent amount of money, and we got 0 for it. So there's something wrong. Looks like Canon cameras is too broad a keyword term. This landing page doesn't seem to convert anybody. Get rid of that keyword. Canon digital camera, same thing. That keyword doesn't match our landing page. Our shoppers are not converting, so get rid of that. That will improve our performance immediately. And if we go one by one, we can see the keywords that are working, keywords that are not. So the Canon 5D, Canon 7D, Canon camera, these seem to be working well, but Canon cameras DSLR, we have a 0% conversion rate, which, hey, we only have 13 visits from that keyword. Maybe we let that go another round to see if things will change, or maybe we pause it. That's simply a matter of preference. Either decision is justifiable. And again, if we go down to the bottom, we see we have a lot more keywords that don't match the theme of this ad group or landing page. These cheap camera, cheap digital camera, these are all very broad keywords. As a result, they're getting very poor ranking, and so that is just damaging our performance. Let's get rid of those. All of the inferences and conclusions we've made so far are pretty straightforward and are pretty low-hanging fruit. Make sure the landing page matches the ad, make sure the keywords match the ad and the landing page, and make sure the keywords are pretty tightly themed. They should all be for the same brand or for the same camera, something closely related to one another. Next, we look at all of the individual keywords and see if there are some obvious keywords that are performing poorly. Get rid of those. Pause those keywords or take them out of the ad group and create a new ad group with these other keywords that are better themed together. Maybe all of these keywords at the bottom, cheap camera, cheap digital camera, those could create another ad group that maybe you could target more effectively with a different ad and a different landing page. This last thing I'm going to talk about is the bid amount. This is something that perhaps should be left off to the later rounds. Maybe in the early rounds you simply have students concentrate on setting up good ad groups with a good landing page and a good set of keywords that are all themed around one another. But when we start to get to the later rounds, if we want to maximize our return on ad spend, we'll want to adjust our keyword bids themselves. Here, this student has taken the tactic of always bidding a little bit more than the suggested keyword bid. As you see, for example, on the Canon camera keyword, the suggested bid was 74 cents, and the student bid $1. And if you see, every single keyword bid amount is higher than the suggested bid. Obviously, you can improve your return on ad spend by spending less. When does it make sense to do that? Well, here, if you notice, all of these keywords that are well themed in this ad group at least have a ranking of 1.5. That means that any time this ad shows up for this keyword is showing up in position 1 or position 2, which means this ad is performing very well. This search engine likes this ad. It's very well written. It goes to a good landing page. The search engine is making good money off this ad. It likes your ad. This student can probably lower the bid amount and still get good results. We're already at the best performance we can do, so we can decrease the bid amount and possibly improve our return on ad spend. But in order to do that, we need to make sure our keywords are well themed together and that we have a good landing page. In that case, our quality score is high. We can lower our bid amount and still get the same performance.